Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Virgo energy. And for this round of 12 zodiac sign readings, we're going to do this 10 card spread. I'll get out an oracle card here to see what that wants to add. And at the end, we're going to get out some cards to ask what could be coming up for people that they might not see coming, depending on if they harness a more high vibrational Pisces or Virgo energy or a more shadowy Virgo or worldly nature Virgo energy. Because life's all about learning lessons, and we have our more worldly nature, which can be our prideful, immature, indulgent, lazy, self-centered, egotistical, petty, envious, jealous, manipulative, the list goes on, right? Some people have learned lessons and they've kind of distanced and detached from their being in those more shadowy energies. And some people haven't. And the truth sets us free. And we just need to listen to our intuition about who's who. Who's being authentic and honest and just and fair and kind of on the same emotional maturity level of having learned lessons that we've learned. Because we all kind of like to hang out with people who are kind of on the same page as ourselves. And some people haven't learned those lessons yet. And they are more about themselves. And they are more motivated about ego or indulgence or immaturity. They just sometimes try to present themselves as harnessing a more high vibrational energy than they do because they want to be viewed a certain way. And if they get in relationships with people who harness high vibe energy, then it makes them look like they're more high vibe than they are. And then if they can trap someone like that in a friendship or relationship or a job, it benefits them. And until the other people see the truth of it, they get a benefit from it. So we're going to just take the first card that we got out of the Oracle deck. It says, Bumpy Ride. Don't be afraid to make a change. Regardless of how hard you perceive it to be, it can be fun if you allow it and let go of the resistance to it. So, I also look at, oh no, not that card. This card as the overarching reason for the reading. And the Magician card is Gemini Virgo energy. Gemini energy has to do with our dualistic nature. Am I more motivated and inspired and having hope and faith and belief and love? Do I listen to my intuition? Am I connected in with my emotions? Or am I maybe live more from my mind than my heart, more connected with my worldly nature, more motivated to be about myself, think I need to work with these things of the world, like ignore my intuition, no, I need to work with these things of the world. That's how I'm going to be victorious and successful. And some, Virgo energy is also represented by the Knight of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles wants to become a King of Pentacles, whether you're male or female. Some people, I just want to get married because the King and Queen of Pentacles is the only married through the deck. Some people, that's their end goal. Doesn't have to do with love. I want the stability or the security or just to be in a relationship. Some people, it's more about money and status. Some people want to have those things so they can manipulate other people. And other people are aligned with truth and love. And they want to heal and grow and mature themselves. They don't like their more worldly, immature, shadowy nature manipulating them. They don't like the world manipulating them. They don't like other people manipulating them. And high vibe Virgo energy is about being more independent. Independent from your shadow nature, more independent from the world. Knowing, feeling stable and grounded within yourself, loving yourself, knowing your worth and value. And some people haven't learned to do that yet. And there could be in just more codependent energy. And some people think life is that everybody's trying to manipulate each other for their own selfish reasons. But that's not the truth. Not everybody is. So let's go see what we have going on here. People are moving forward in the Six of Wands. Some people are defensive to change. I have a way of living life. I want to keep living my life like this. I don't want to maybe even think about adding anything, because our Virgo nature learns lessons in life, and it adds those truth and those lessons to our philosophy of life. And when we learn certain lessons, that means, I don't want to repeat this same pattern, because I've been there and I've done that. I've learned the lessons I've needed to learn. I'm going to stand up for myself instead of being in my defensive egoic nature. And I'm going to incorporate what I've learned into how I make decisions moving forward. And if I add kind of that one pentacle that Virgo goes within to find the truth and love, then we would have the Eight of Pentacles. And then we would be in Virgo energy, because the 8 and the 9 and the 10 of Pentacles is Virgo energy. And Virgo energy is that earth sign energy we tap into to transition out of an old phase of life. The 7 of Pentacles is Taurus energy, which has to do with our philosophy of life. And at any stage of our life, age 15, age 18, age 21, age 25, 35, 45, we have a certain way of viewing life. But then we live life at whatever phase of life, the new phase of life that we're in. We're meant to learn lessons in life. We're not meant to stay stuck in a certain phase of life. That keeps us stuck and stagnant. But some people are defensive of change, and they want to not do life any differently. And that's fine. Everybody can live their life whatever way they want. But sometimes we're kind of in mismatched relationships where other people don't like feeling stuck, don't like being defensive to change. Because why would we be so defensive to incorporate things that we've learned in our life into how we move forward? And we would then move forward in life a little differently, because we view life a little differently. We've grown, we've healed, we've matured. But some people are like, nope. Shadowy hangman can be about operating from your ego. And I don't know what I called that. It's Pisces energy. And how we view life and what we find emotionally fulfilling. And some people are very much, if people aren't a shadowy emotional energy of Pisces energy within themselves, regardless of what zodiac sun sign they are, that, nope, I'm about the world. I want to invest in the world. I want to invest in making my life about me or ego or image or money and materialism and looking victorious and successful in the world. I want to look like a boss, or I want to be the boss, or I like to be in relationships where I am bossy and controlling, or maybe it's more about me. And for some people, that's how they want to move forward, and they don't want to look at life any differently. That's how they enjoy and think they'll be happy living their life. And they're just trying to find other people who are willing to invest in them, being kind of shadowy Leo, being maybe prideful, egotistical, manipulative, defensive, shadowy Aries, maybe full of themselves, bossy, controlling, self-centered, shadowy hangman, Pisces, want to indulge in the world, want to be indulged, and they're looking for people who kind of live their life like that. Do you operate more from your pride and ego? Do you feel stuck? Do you want to invest in a relationship with someone who looks victorious and successful? Well, then come invest in me. But, by the way, you might not know it for quite a while, but eventually you'll see I'm kind of stubborn, and I'm unwilling to look at life from any other perspective. And I might want to be in a relationship, but from the 3 to the 7, you'd have to let go of the 4 of Pentacles. And that can be this way of living life, viewing life, that you hold on to, that you don't want to let go of. I have a way of living life and a way of viewing life, and I don't plan to ever look at life any differently. So if you want to invest in someone like that, people have to know they are not going to let go of probably operating from their ego or aligning with their more worldly Virgo nature of being maybe single, being maybe more about themselves. They're willing to put in work and effort to look like they look victorious and successful in the world. But that is what drives and motivates them. That could be how they define their worth and value. And they're not motivated and inspired to look at life from any other perspective. That there is no higher truth or justice to aspire to. The world says it's about ego and image and money and materialism or me. And I believe that. And that's what I'm going to make my life about. And that's how some people are moving forward. They're moving forward in that energy. They want to get in relationships with other people who they think kind of view life that same way. Those are the people in the Three of Wands that they think they can have their dreams come into reality with. But, see, the whole thing is about thinking we're the boss. That's kind of like shadowy Emperor Aries energy that any of us can harness. Is that, we're kind of deceiving ourselves. We could grow to our full potential, which is quit being more about ourselves, quit being bossy, quit being prideful, quit being stubborn, quit being defensive, because it's an environment, an energy of love where we really thrive and grow to our full potential. They can do that if they want. The Seven of Swords is Aquarius energy, also represented by the Star card. They could look very successful in the world, and they could look like a shining star in the world. It's just that they didn't manifest being enlightened to the truth. And they didn't kind of be someone who could have been a person in the world who harnesses high vibe Leo energy, high vibe Aries, high vibe Virgo, high vibe Pisces, high vibe Aquarius, high vibe Gemini. They could have been someone who's a leader in the world, who's enlightened to the truth that love is what makes it all worthwhile. And they could have been a loving, encouraging, stable, grounded, independent person, inspired by their dreams to be a good example in the world, to offer love and encouragement to other people, to enlighten other people, to free themselves from their more worldly nature, because high vibe energy is about being free, not being deceived and manipulated by the world and by your ego. And so they do make their life more about themselves. Instead of being authentic and just and fair and loving and encouraging, it's more, if they do act in that way, it's because of their own want for these things of status and image or ego, because that's ultimately, it's more operating from a worldly foundation than love. And if they get in relationships with people and there comes a point in time in the relationship that other people want them to try to see things from their perspective, that, I don't want to keep repeating this old pattern all the time. I don't want to make it just about ego and image. That's not why I want to be in a relationship. I thought we were going to be in a relationship because of high vibe Gemini Virgo, that in our free will, we aligned with truth and love, healing from our past pain and heartbreak, learning lessons in life, to be inspired to be more independent, to put in work and effort to grow and mature ourselves to our full potential, to believe in ourselves, believe in our dreams, where we weren't living more from our mind than our heart, being more caught up in our ego and looking like a shining star, or being more about ourselves, being indulged. I thought we were going to turn our back on that because we realize how that keeps us repeating old patterns. And I thought life was looking at life from a different perspective and expanding our perception of ourselves and the world around us and what we believed was possible, and believing in our dreams and really living our more authentic life, being free of all these things that can manipulate us to get us caught up more in our head and make decisions in our life more about, well, is this good for my ego? Is this good for my image? Will this make me look, will I have more money, more status, more power, more influence? Is it going to be more about me? It's like, what about love? You know, high vibe Virgo energy, represented by the 8 and the 9 and the 10 of Pentacles, is about putting in this work and effort to make good decisions in your life, to believe in yourself, believe in your dreams, not get caught up in your head, not be manipulated more by your pride and ego and fear and insecurities and caught up in the world and being caught up in other people who are more about that. Loving and believing in yourself and believing in your dreams. That when you find yourself in friendships or relationships or workplaces with people who are being kind of manipulative and trying to tempt you to be in your more immature, lustful, greedy, prideful, petty, envious, jealous, lazy nature, to indulge them and live your life like that. And it's like, but I had a dream, and, you know, I kind of lived my life, you know, at this phase of life where that might have been a phase of life to learn lessons. You know, we were all 15 and 18 and 21 and 25, and we were kind of wanting to go indulge in all these things in the world, thinking that was living the dream. But it kind of stopped us from, you know, moving forward and growing and maturing ourselves. And, you know, it kind of is self-indulgent, you know? And it's like every phase of life has its phase and learning lessons, but I do have a dream, and I could be kind of tempted to still want to be in a relationship with certain people, but if they want to kind of make their life more about those things or themselves, and maybe they don't listen to their intuition, and maybe they're not willing to kind of more stand up to their more immature, shadowy nature, so then they don't want me to stand up for myself and believe in my dreams because they want me to hang out with them and live life like them. And it's like, well, that might be their idea of the dream life. How about you come and get in a relationship with me? You're single, you're abundant, you could be loving and nurturing and supportive. I think that's great. But I want to kind of be more about me or deceptive or manipulative. I don't want to look at life from any other perspective or your perspective. And I might not really want to work with you cooperatively. It's a little bit more about me, my wants, my needs, my lusts, my greed, my pride, my ego. Or if I'm immature, if I'm bossy, if I'm controlling, you're just supposed to indulge me because you kind of don't have hope and faith and belief in your dreams, right? And you want to invest in a relationship that looks victorious and successful, right? And I might be attractive or charming or have money or status or whatever. And you want those things, right? Can't I use all those things to try to manipulate you, to stop you from standing up for yourself and investing in your dream, and you make your dream more about my dream? Because I don't want to work with you cooperatively. I don't want to see you as your own unique individual with your own unique talent, skills, and interests, your own dreams. That's not really how I view relationships. Shadowy Pisces, I kind of have these illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. And I think people should make it more about me. And there are some people like that in the world. Some of you have already dealt with some people like that. And for a long time, the Seven of Swords can talk about how we kind of don't want to listen to our intuition. Because we could feel stuck in a relationship, but we're defensive to not being in that relationship and letting it go. So for a long time, we kind of don't want to be illuminated to the truth. No, I'm not ready to stand up for myself yet. I'm going to keep hoping one day they're going to be illuminated to the truth. And hopefully one day they will look at life differently, and hopefully they will one day work together with me more cooperatively. And you might know some people that are doing that in a relationship. Some of those might be people you'd like to invest in and be in a relationship with. But so long as they have friends or family members or romantic interests in their life that they're not willing to become more independent from, and they keep hoping maybe those people will change one day, and if those people change one day and they're willing to move forward in life differently and detach from an old way of living life, then they'll go live life differently too. You know, sometimes you can be in a relationship with someone, say it's a romantic relationship, and someone presents themselves as they're moving forward, they're a boss in the world, they're single, they're independent, they're ready to work with other people to bring a dream into reality. But they're kind of not being truthful because they have a friend group or a family group or something that really is their primary foundation that they are kind of codependent on. And if those people don't move forward in life differently, they're not going to move forward in life differently. And it's kind of like those people or that person or whatever it is, or just their ego and their more self-centered nature is really what drives their life, not hope and faith and belief and love. You kind of end up feeling deceived and manipulated and stuck in a relationship because you thought you were going to move forward and give birth to this dream. 2 cards, the 3 of Wands and the 7 of Swords, about bringing a dream into reality. But you can't bring that dream into reality if they're not willing to get out of being more about themselves or their ego or their deceptive nature, or really, I have these other people, I might marry you, I might have children with you, but you're kind of like a third party to this other foundation that I defend. And if those people tell me, I don't think you should move forward with those people anymore, you know, I don't know, I don't trust them, I don't like them, whatever. Sadly, their loyalty is more to those people. And some of those people could be defensive to you because they all could kind of live their life more aligned with their worldly nature. And if you're someone who is more enlightened to the truth and you are more authentic, high vibe Leo, you're authentic, you're loving, you're warm, you're less manipulated by your fear or your insecurity or your ego or the world, and you are more independent from your shadowy nature than they are, well, then they cannot like that. And they also don't want the people who you could have been in relationship with to kind of be enlightened to the truth that they're kind of not as authentic and loving and just and fair and have their best interests at heart as they like to pretend or convey that they are. You know, sometimes we can have people in our life who don't want us to move forward in life differently in a more authentic, balanced, just, fair, loving relationship, or living our life being more bold and brave and confident, because they don't. And then if those people were to do that, it would cause those other people mental conflict. It's like, gee, I see that person seems to have looked at life differently, and they seem to be working together with people cooperatively, and they seem to have an inspiring, authentic, loving relationship. They're making good decisions in their life. The people in their life are making good decisions in their life. They're standing up for each other and defending each other. Well, then it causes them mental conflict, like, why am I living my life like this? You know, and they could be living their life where they could have gotten in situations more out of codependency or fear or insecurity or money or status or whatever, and then it causes a mental conflict. And it's like, I don't want to have that mental conflict, so I have an idea. I'm just going to try to get the people in my life that I know that it would bother me if they live their life differently. I'm going to maybe try to deceive and manipulate them and use the love that they have for me to manipulate them. You shouldn't live your life like that. I don't think you should hang out with those people. I don't think those people have your best interest. And so basically it's people, shadowy Leo, trying to manipulate people to not listen to their intuition. And our own shadow nature of fear and insecurity does that to us. And then we have other people in our life who can do that to us. And some people don't want to see how their own fear and insecurity or immature, lustful, greedy, bossy, controlling nature kind of prevents them from being in relationships with more enlightened, authentic, loving, warm people who want to maybe work together with them cooperatively. But because there's some maybe a way of viewing life of what we think in the Two of Swords here. The Five of Swords is like, I have a dream. But the Two of Swords is like, I have this idea of what I think is just and fair, and that's kind of how I might have grown up. I might have hung around people that have a certain idea of what we think is just and fair of how to operate in the world or in relationships. And I have a hard time, and then there's a maximum of 10 in every suit. So if we're Seven of Swords up in our head, some people do listen to their intuition and they're operating from a Three of Cups energy of love. Other people don't trust love and they're defensive to investing in love. They could even love some people and would love to be in a relationship with them. But in order to be in a relationship with you, I have to get out of my more self-protective, defensive nature. And I'd have to work with you more cooperatively, inspired by love. And that puts me at danger of being hurt at like a core foundational level. And some people don't even see the truth that that's why they could reject people, because they don't want to acknowledge that truth to themselves. For other people, they have other people in their life who kind of manipulate and control them. They don't want to see the truth of that. Their own ego and self-centered nature manipulates them, but they don't like to view themselves as egotistical and self-centered. So, they come up with all sorts of reasons as to why are they not working with people who seem to be enlightened to the truth, who want to work with them cooperatively, who would be willing to stand up and defend them in a relationship so long as they move forward being more independent. And for some people, it's like, I don't want to be more independent of the world. I make my whole life about the world. My whole life, how I define myself and my worth and value is based on what I look like and what I wear and what I drive and how much money I have. I don't even know how I define myself. High Vibe Virgo is, me and God define my worth and value. And I am more than what I wear and what I drive and how much money I have and how much power and influence I have. What makes me a valuable person, instead of aligning with my more worldly, shadowy Taurus philosophy of life, I align with my more high vibrational Taurus philosophy of life. And I walk the talk. I really am who I say I am. Other people try to present themselves as being like a pillar of society, but that's not really the truth of who they are. They want the status and the image, and they want people to view them that way, but they don't really walk the talk. But they don't want people to know that they're maybe more materialistic or prideful or bossy or controlling or immature than they really are. Other people in their life have probably been enlightened to the truth. And other people decided to, from the Eight of Pentacles to the Three of Pentacles, they didn't find it very abundant in the Five of Pentacles, which is also Taurus energy. It might have all these things of the world that people could want, but it's not very abundant in creativity, authenticity, love, adventurous, creative, and inspired. And I kind of feel left out in the cold. I don't feel like it's, again, it could have all those things that by worldly standards we would think we wanted. And again, we come in contact with all these different people in the world to help us get more clear about our truth and what dreams we had for ourselves. Am I willing to stay in this for those reasons? And that's when people could kind of feel like I'd maybe stay in it, even if I feel stuck, even if I feel, because that's how we can be tempted in our worldly egoic nature. We want those things of the world. But high vibe energy asks us to believe in ourselves and believe in our dreams. If everybody keeps repeating old patterns, we're never going to give birth to anything new, and we're never going to live our more authentic life and have our dreams come into reality. So if we really walk the talk and we look at life differently and believe we have more to work with than just these things of the world, it's kind of like high vibe energy represented by God at the big picture, is we have this life force energy of creativity and inspiration that wants to give birth to new things. Shadow energy wants us to, represented by the devil at the big picture, wants us to keep repeating old patterns and not giving birth to anything new. And if we were to listen to our creative, inspired, intuitive nature, and if we're willing to put in that work and effort to free ourselves from things that manipulate us on our fear and our insecurity and our more worldly, egoic nature, and be inspired to stand up for ourselves and move forward, being open to looking at life differently and listening to our intuition. It's kind of like the universe drops breadcrumbs. Go this way, follow this. Whether it's books and music and movies or people randomly that you meet, the universe is trying to work with people to bring your dreams into reality. But if we're not listening to our intuition and we think we're the boss and no, I should do it this way, I'm sure this will work. It's like, you can keep doing that. It's just probably not going to turn out the way you want. And it's probably going to get you up in your head and cause you a lot of mental conflict because you were more manipulated by your ego than listening to your intuition. And if you were to invest in listening to your intuition, you could free yourself from some of those things that manipulate you, and you would really have something creative and inspired and authentic and aligned with your truth that would really be worth defending. And as some of you are moving forward in that way and you've kind of detached from some people that at one point in time you thought you were on the same page, but then as time went by, you kind of realized either they were more deceptive and manipulative, bossy or controlling, or egotistical and self-centered, or materialistic, or stubborn than you realized. And, in a lot of ways, it could have been really good where you really thought a dream was going to come into reality. But it is those subtle differences of kind of what drives and motivates people and what their dream is, and is it more about them or the world, or is it about having hope and faith and belief and love? And that's when you kind of realize that some people, it isn't love that really drives and motivates them, and having hope and faith and belief in love and in themselves and in others, and it is more about themselves or the world or their fear or their defensive energy. So some people became enlightened to the truth, and they detached from those people, and those people are moving forward independent of those things and people and ways of living life and viewing life, and they're making good decisions in their life, looking to the future, believing in themselves, believing in their dreams. And as they're doing this, we're always going to meet different people in our life, and because we have free will, we have to make decisions in our life. There's always going to be people that just want to be the next person to indulge in a relationship. Like, wow, if I got in a relationship, it would look like I had my dreams come into reality. I could have been working with some stubborn, materialistic, prideful people, but they could be that type of person too. But sometimes, again, people who are shadowy, and they have those shadowy traits and characteristics, on one hand, they do want to work with people who are more motivated by the world or whatever it is they like to indulge in that they think will make them happy. They kind of don't like being in a relationship, though, with someone who isn't motivated and inspired by love. They might be on the same page in a lot of ways, but if both of them aren't really are defensive to investing in love, well, then they like to be in a relationship with people who, even though that's not their truth, I don't really want to be a more just and fair and balanced and loving person, but I like to be in relationships with people who are like that. Maybe I can manipulate you. And maybe I can be the next person to indulge in a relationship with you until you see the truth about me. And then when you're illuminated to the truth about me and become defensive to investing in me, and then I'll go on and I'll go find someone else. And the whole thing is we come in contact with all these people to also learn to listen to our intuition. And if you already know some people in your life as you're moving forward, some people in your life you already know they're more about themselves or deceptive or manipulative, and you've already turned your back on those people. But there could be other people who come towards you and other people in your life and other people you'll meet in your future who are deceptive and manipulative. And I think that you will, the wands can talk about communication. I'm willing to work, get to know people. The pentacles talk about investing time, energy, and effort in people. But you're going to be defensive to investing in a victory with people until you do get to know what drives and motivates them. And while you're getting to know them, you're going to be listening to your intuition. And if your intuition tells you, yeah, I think people can want to get in a relationship with you. Well, I feel stuck in the relationship I'm in. I don't want to move forward with those people. I think I should invest in you. No, I don't want you to invest in a relationship with me just because you feel stuck in the relationship you're in. Some people, this person isn't doing what I want, so I'm going to try to deceive and manipulate them by getting in a relationship with you, and they'll be defensive, and then maybe they'll start doing things the way I want, and then maybe I'd go back and get in a relationship with them. No, I don't want you to come get in a relationship with me because you're trying to manipulate someone else. Some people are, again, more about themselves, just want to get in a relationship, want a shadowy fire energy. I want to indulge myself in a relationship and all the perks that come with being in a relationship. No, I do not want someone to be in a relationship with me because they want to look like they've moved on. They want to look like they've changed. They want to look like they've been enlightened to the truth, that they've grown up or they've matured themselves, want to indulge in a relationship. No, I don't want someone to get in a relationship with me for any of those reasons. I want to be in a relationship with someone who's being authentic, is stable and grounded within themselves, willing to put in work and effort, makes good decisions in their life. If I were to be in a relationship with them, they take me into consideration if their decisions that they're going to make affect me. And there's someone who also is motivated to be in relationships with people who are like that. And they're not being deceptive and manipulative. And they have been enlightened to the truth. And they do know how to work cooperatively with others. They have learned these lessons in life. And they're not looking to people like, well, are you a good investment? Well, I don't know. What do you got? What do you wear? How much power, social influence do you have? I want people who want to be in a relationship with me because of love. And have been enlightened to the truth that love is what makes it all worthwhile. And love is building a solid foundation. The people who are in relationships for other reasons, well, if you ever want me to start looking at things from your perspective, I'm leaving. If you want me to work more cooperatively with you, I'm leaving. If you want me to be more independent of some other things that manipulate me, no, I'm leaving. If you want me to make better decisions in my life or take you into account, no, I'm leaving. If someone else is single and they got more image or money or status, sorry, that's really what drove and motivates me anyway, so I'm leaving. If I think there's someone who feel stuck because a relationship they'd invested in didn't work out, and now they're single, and I think I can deceive and manipulate them. Sorry, I kind of prefer to be in relationships with people who don't aren't enlightened to the truth about me and my shortcomings, and I'll go deceive someone else and start all over again until they become enlightened to the truth. You know? So we just listen to our intuition about people. There's no guarantees, and even if people are acting with character and integrity, there's no, guarantees in life when people, could be more drive their life off into the ditch, get bossy, get controlling, get lazy, get stubborn, get prideful. If we keep moving forward, being enlightened to the truth, making good decisions in our life, maintaining our independence, putting in work and effort to love and believe in ourselves, maintain balance within ourselves, and when people are being deceptive or manipulative, we listen to our intuition. It's like, wait a minute, what are you doing? The Seven of Pentacles is kind of like, I'm stopping to pause to consider if I want to keep investing in this. And if people are trying to confuse me about the truth, I think they're being manipulative, because some people want to get in a relationship, and then once they think the person they're in a relationship with, like, oh, I got them invested in it, they're like, see, they get the other person emotionally invested in it, but they didn't really emotionally invest in it authentically from truth and love. Oh, well, now I can be deceptive and manipulative because now I know this person is invested in it. They won't want to detach from it. They want this dream to come into reality. Now I can let my more immature, shadowy, bossy, whatever ways of being come out. And because they don't want to leave and are defensive, basically I can keep them stuck in a relationship with me, indulging me in my shadowy ways of being. And that's what some people have done with you before. And some people are like, I don't want to repeat that pattern. I am going to move forward, illuminating my truth to people about, listen to my intuition, be authentic. The people who I think are more deceptive, manipulative, prideful, self-centered, ego-focused, materialistically more focused than love-focused, I'm going to distance myself from them and keep standing up for myself and moving forward. I want to be available if there's not people in my life, or I have people in my life who are moving forward with me in this way, before I bring someone else into the fold, or if I'm not in a romantic relationship, before I do that, I'm going to be careful about who I invest my time, energy, and effort into. And I'm not going to take action more out of my worldly nature, because we are these emotionally complex human beings, and we can get ourselves stuck in a relationship that we'd maybe really rather not be in. So I want to be free to be able to get in relationships with the people who I'm meant to be in a relationship with, who are more on the same page as me. And there could be some people you want to invest in, but because they kind of got caught up in the world, didn't listen to their intuition, some of those people got themselves stuck in a relationship that they'd maybe really rather not be in. But, if they're going to keep staying in it, that's our free will choice. There's just consequences for us to make decisions. If we're not being truthful and honest, the people in our life are happy, or we don't want to acknowledge the truth, we can be in relationships with people. I am so glad that you are not willing to stand up for yourself and detach from me, because then I get to keep indulging in this relationship with you. And they could feel stuck in a relationship, but so long as it works for people and they're willing to stay in it for whatever reasons they're willing to stay in it, it's just that You could have invested in manifesting your dreams into reality, but you have to work through your fears and insecurities about your ego and your image to adhere to a higher truth and justice and illuminate the truth. This isn't just and fair. It isn't aligned with my truth. And initially, when I could have gotten into it, maybe I was in my ego. Maybe I wasn't listening to my intuition. Maybe I was kind of in my lust or greed. You know, not everybody's got to know your business, but you can at least say I've been illuminated to the truth that there's things going on in it, at least now, if not forever, that really weren't aligned with my truth, and maybe I didn't love and believe in myself. Maybe I was caught up in the more worldly dream and I thought that would make me happy. And I thought maybe we were both on that page, and that was more of what our focus and attention was than really listening to our intuition and being more inspired to, I don't know, look at life from a higher perspective. So people are moving forward. People are making decisions in their life. The people who are very stubborn and prideful, they're unwilling. They will do things just to prove a point. I'm the boss. Look at me. I'm victorious and successful. Yay. And it's all you manipulating someone, or all more about ego and image or pride and ego and not love. Yippee for you. I hope you're happy about what you've invested in. I hope your pride and ego and your stubbornness, proving a point, makes you happy. But you might be in, other people might be in relationship with those people, and those people are happy they act that way because it works for them. You know, I'll indulge you in your stubbornness and your pride and your ego, in your bossy, controlling nature. I might not want to be single. It would make it look like my dreams have come into reality, and I maybe don't have hope and faith and belief in myself or in love either. So, hey, let's both make our life about that. And we'll both stay in the relationship more out of our pride and our ego and our fear and our insecurity or our stubbornness or our greed. What a wonderful life. What an illusion of what a wonderful life they've created. You know, because you're either being truthful and authentic and loving, or you're just creating an illusion that it's that. Some people are thinking about detaching from a foundation and becoming independent of a way of viewing life, living life, and putting in work and effort to make these better decisions in their life. And something that they had viewed as victorious, maybe kind of realizing either they or both or the other person, it seemed to be more about the illusion, and put in this work and effort to believe in themselves and believe in their dreams and make better decisions in their life, and they'll have to do this struggling within themselves and their temptation to give in to their more worldly nature, because with the more worldly nature kind of being represented by the devil, you know, we can be really tempted by kind of more short-term gratification. And if we, to really have our dreams come into reality, you know, it's kind of like pushing that ball or a big rock, you know, a ball. It takes putting work and effort to keep moving the ball up a slight incline. It's much easier to not do that, you know, but we shouldn't expect reward without effort. And Virgo energy is about putting in that work and effort. And some people are like, maybe I'll just let go of that and I'll just keep doing life the way I've been doing it. And the more people keep giving in to themselves, the same pattern, hoping, oh no, I'm sure it'll work out this time. And they keep not being illuminated to the truth about when we make decisions more out of fear, insecurity, pride, ego, lust, greed, codependency, looking to other people to value us and love us versus us valuing ourselves and loving us. Other people are happy we're in that energy, and we get in relationships with people who are in their own shadowy energy to some degree of their own. And until we put in that work and effort, the Three of Pentacles is Capricorn energy, shadowy Capricorn energy is the devil. Until we become independent and are inspired to free ourselves from a way of viewing life or living life or indulging ourselves or this more worldly view of life, it's going to keep us stuck. We have to put in this work and effort to be inspired to get out of this more worldly, egoic, what we view as victorious, to live our more authentic life. And like, I'm not going to put up with bullshit from myself or others. I'm not going to enable poor behavior in myself or others. When I plant bad seeds, I get a bad crop. If I want to have an abundant outcome, I have to be in abundant energy. And some of the people that are more about themselves or got some shadowy energy, oh no, I'm sure because I have these certain assets or traits or characteristics or whatever, I'm sure I can kind of manipulate and deceive someone into staying in a relationship with me. But other people kind of see the truth that they're not being authentic, that they are kind of more about themselves, that they do have these things that manipulate them, that they apparently have no interest in wanting to see the truth about, but the other people can see the truth of it, and eventually people move on from them. And then some of these people are confused and they can't understand why they defend these other people in their life. It's like, well, because the other people in their life harness these energies all in a high vibe way. They're not operating from ego and defensiveness. They know their worth and value. They've learned lessons in life. They're inspired by love. They motivate and inspire other people to love and believe in themselves. They're not trying to deceive and manipulate people. And other people see the truth about them. And those are the people they want to be in a relationship with. And some people just don't get it. Well, I look like that person. I act like that person. I dress like that person. I present myself in the world like that person. But that is kind of living more from your mind than your heart. High vibe people are authentically, that's high vibe Leo energy. I am authentically who I say I am. I'm not presenting myself in the world as being like a certain type of person who has certain traits, qualities, and characteristics. I really am that person. And the other people are like, but I'm defensive to investing in the work to really be that kind of person. So I think it's just and fair for me just to present myself as that type of person. I thought that's what people did. And for some people, that's what they don't get, is the difference. Some people think you're just presenting a better facade in the world than they are, and they don't get it. But you're not acting out of pride and ego, and you're not trying to manipulate and control people. How come you look victorious and successful and stable and grounded and like a boss in the world? And they're putting in all this work and effort to try to make it seem like that's who they are. And you're just living your authentic life. That's high vibe energy. You're just living your authentic life. You're not trying to create a facade. And then they have other people who are defensive to them, and they don't get it. Well, I feel like I'm doing just what that person's doing. It's like, no, because the other people are being authentic. And you're trying to create a mental construct image of like who you are in the world. And it's not the truth of who you are. You might do all the right things, belong to all the organizations, wear the right clothes, blah, 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 blah. But it's all more superficial and shallow. There's no substance there. No authenticity there. High vibe people are moving forward with people in their life who they think are authentic, enlightened to the truth, work together cooperatively with them. Detaching from people in their life who they think are manipulative and deceptive and in these shadowy ways. And some of the more shadowy people in the world want to keep being shadowy and just hide the truth from people and think it'll work out. We had two cards that went off the table. A Ten of Pentacles in reverse and a Ten of Swords in reverse. Some people lack a lot of insight, because the Ten of Pentacles is Virgo energy, about self-awareness, growing and maturing yourself. And some people who could think they have all these things of the world that people should want to be in relationship with them, there could be a lot of people who find their foundation is completely upside down because they don't get it. They live completely more from their mind than their heart. And other people don't want anything to do with them. And some of these people are confused. Look at me, shadowy Leo. Look at me. Look at me and how I look and all these things, and you should want to be in a relationship with me. I don't get it. Why aren't these people wanting to be in a relationship with me? Because other people see the truth. That they lack self-awareness, self-insight, are repeating old patterns over and over and over again, never grow and heal and mature themselves, and other people don't want anything to do with them. And what some people don't realize is because when we act, I think life is about learning lessons, and people can live their life whatever way they want, but if they think they can be deceptive and manipulative, bossy and controlling, and more about themselves, you know, they're not the boss. And there's karmic consequences, and their whole foundation could be turned upside down because they're unwilling, and have a lot of people leave their life because they are so unwilling to, I guess, thinking the way they think and way they view themselves is they're thinking this, caught up in the illusion of who they are, and that everyone else should view them that way. So stubborn and prideful and egotistical that they could lose everything. And it could be taken away in a heartbeat. What's coming up for some people who harness some high vibe Virgo energy that they might not see coming up? Standing up for themselves against people whose philosophy of life is more about the world and ego and being indulged. Judgment and the Five of Pentacles. Why? Because of the Queen of Wands. So I view the Queen of Wands as Leo energy. Because high vibe people were willing to believe in themselves and believe in their dreams, and they were willing to put in this work and effort to deal with their own inner conflict and their own egoic nature, judgment is going to go in their favor. They get to move forward. When we complete a phase of life, we have a new beginning. It's like, you know, you kind of give birth to a new you, because you don't view life the same way as you used to. You're not the same person that you were before. The fives also talk about change. You get to move forward in life because Leo energy is also represented by the sun. And just like the Hangman, you looked at life differently. How you view yourself, how you view others, how you view the world. Connected in with your emotions and your intuition and your hopeful, believing nature, and walking the talk, making good decisions in your life. You are going to be able to detach from an old pattern. And some of these other people, they're going to keep repeating this pattern because it's like they didn't pass the class. They didn't learn the lesson they were meant to learn. Because there's some truth that they don't want to see the truth of. And so you can't move to the next phase of life until you learn the lesson you're meant to learn on an old phase of life. Their worldly nature, their more worldly nature is what they're defending instead of standing up for their more loving, hopeful, believing nature. And as long as they're doing that, their more shadow nature is going to run their life. And there's going to be other people that are going to be happy they're in that energy because they are too. And until they're willing to see the truth that, oh, pride comes before the fall. I guess there was things I wasn't seeing clearly. Maybe I do need to look at life differently. And that's, you know, you have to get out of your pride and ego to even admit, maybe I have some lessons to learn in life. And I think as you move forward in this way, there's going to be other people who are going to want to move forward with you because they see that you are being authentic and truthful. You're not operating out of pride and ego and lust and greed and trying to manipulate and control people. And you are someone that they're going to want to invest in. And you're going to move forward victoriously with other people who are enlightened to the truth. And you could have had some people that wanted to go indulge themselves, thinking you'd be stuck and defensive to investing in a new beginning, and that if whatever they went to go indulge themselves in didn't work out, that they could come back and manipulate you and you would still defend them. But while they were off indulging in whatever they were doing, you did this work within yourself to see the truth. This person isn't being just and fair. This person isn't acting with character and integrity. This person is being deceptive and manipulative, and is basically being illuminated to the truth that how you viewed them, you weren't seeing things clearly, and that their philosophy of life is different than yours, and you've been illuminated to the truth, and you and your philosophy of life are moving forward, and they can keep investing in their philosophy of life. They just have to do it with someone else. What's coming up for people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Virgo energy that they might not see coming up? And you're going to move forward with other people who harness high vibe Leo energy instead of a more worldly, shadowy Leo energy. Doesn't mean they're a Leo sun sign. It just means that they align with their more hopeful, inspired by truth and love than ego or fear or insecurity. Okay, we have 2 cards not showing themselves, and the reason that came out is because of the Leo strength card. When people are kind of acting this way, there can be people in their life that for a long time could just be kind of thinking of leaving, you know, but being patient and hoping people will change, hoping people will, you know, offering love and encouragement to them to try to get them to maybe love and believe in themselves and quit acting in their shadowy ways. But eventually, while high vibe people in their life are being patient, they're doing this work within themselves. The Fool and the 9 of Pentacles. And they're wondering, why do I keep indulging this person in their poor behavior? Partly maybe because they don't want to become single from it, if that's from a job, a friendship, or a relationship. And eventually they start to do this work to love and believe in themselves and get more balance within themselves and work through the mental confusion and how they get caught up in their head and their fear. And, you know, why would I say stuck and defend a situation that I feel like people are being deceptive and manipulative, prideful and egotistical, and eventually those people are done being a fool for some people and get out of their more worldly nature, because it was being more tempted by these things of the world, just stability and security, wanting to be in a relationship. And some of the high vibe people in their life temper their ego about all of it, and they decide to move on and detach from these people. And some of the shadowy people did not see that coming, because they've been able to deceive and manipulate them for a really long time, and those people were stuck, and those people were defensive to becoming independent of them. But, you know, eventually Judgment Day happens, where people say, I'm done, and I'm leaving. And then these shadowy people will be hiding that they were foolish in the relationship. They were in a relationship with someone who was more tempered and balanced and stable and grounded, but they kept repeating these old patterns over and over again because they didn't want to look at life from anyone else's perspective. No, I want it to be more about me. You're supposed to indulge me in my poor behavior. You don't want to be single and have to go find someone else, right? So you just keep putting up with this shit. So then they're going to have to hide from the world that they're kind of in their ego, that some people loved and believed in themselves and weren't willing to put up with their shit anymore. And they don't want to know the world to know that they took some foolish risks in a relationship. And they'll keep operating in their pride and ego, trying to deceive people about the truth of why those high vibe people left. And they'll probably go try to get in a relationship with someone right away to look like they're the boss, and their dreams have come into reality. Maybe even trying to manipulate the people they were in a relationship with, get them in their ego, to get them to come back and do the relationship the way they want them to do it again. And some of those people are like, I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. I've already seen the truth of who you are. And eventually the people who might end up staying in a relationship with them are other people who stay in the relationship more because they don't want to be single. Or because they're more about ego and image or money and materialism. And then we'll have two people operating from their ego, trying to manipulate each other, not being truthful and authentic, while the other people are in authentic relationships. They'll create the illusion the other people are manifesting truth and love. So there you go, Virgo. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.